Hey everyone, it's Micah again, and today I want to take a moment to talk about Fallout 76 because it has been getting a lot of criticism since day one, and as a Fallout fan, I want to take some time and try it out for myself, see if it's really as broken as people claim it is. And after playing through the entire Wastelanders main storyline amongst a whole lot of other quest lines, I think I've gotten a fairly good idea of both the good and the bad. So if you're interested in this game but you're just not sure what to believe in the chaotic sea of all those reviews out there, let's see if I can give you a more balanced look at some of the aspects of Fallout 76. Now before I do anything, I've got to address the elephant, or in this case, the bugs in the room, since that's the first thing people ask about and that's pretty much the only thing people know about. And yes, this game is buggy, there is no denying that. But I do feel that some of the bugs at least have been quite exaggerated. It is disappointing though that Bethesda didn't just release a more polished version. I mean, it's not like they don't have the time, the money, or the talent, unless this was just the decision of some board member who has no concept of gaming beyond numbers, which, let's be honest, really isn't outside the realm of possibility these days. Most of the bugs and glitches that I've personally experienced have not been game breaking. It's been a few floating rocks and a quest giver locking up now and then, and one time I got hit by an Assaultron and got this really weird red aura that I could not get rid of unless I logged out and logged back in. But that's kind of been the extent of it. There's actually only one bug that I found that's super annoying and may interrupt gameplay at least a little, and that has to do with the bow, which is a great shame because the bow is actually an incredible addition to your repertoire of weapons. But sometimes when you're aiming the bow, you get stuck in that aiming mode and it renders you unable to fire, to block, or to do anything related to your shortcuts wheel until you open the wheel itself and change weapons. That's actually the worst thing that I've discovered personally. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the bugs. I mean, we should consider bugs unacceptable, especially at this level. And we've got to stop as a gaming community giving Bethesda a pass, because we give Bethesda way too many passes. I do, however, like I said, think that a lot of the bugs are not as bad currently as some people out there are saying they are. I also think there are some things that they added that weren't in other Fallout games that people are perceiving as bugs, like the stim pack cooldown, which I personally thought was a bug for about the first 50 levels until I searched it. So yeah, there's bugs and glitches in this game, but they've seldom actually interfered with my experience beyond being a little bit annoying. I do believe, however, that Bethesda would benefit a lot from cleaning this game up and adding a little bit more quality of life, rather than just focusing on adding new content. I mean, they need new content too, but they need to fix this stuff, so they have to find a balance somewhere. But that's just me. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's move on to the game itself, and let's start with some of the more superficial elements. If you played Fallout 4, you know what the graphics of 76 look like. They did just reuse the assets, but they did do one thing that has always bugged me. They fixed one thing that's always just bothered me when it comes to the Fallout series. They cleaned up the world, at least a little bit. I've never understood why, even hundreds of years after the bombs dropped, why people were still living in their own filth, why their houses still looked like pieces of garbage just tied together, and why the land had not started to recover. It just makes no sense. But here, even 25 years after the bombs, you have trees with leaves, you have flowers blooming, and you have NPC hubs like Foundation, while not completely clean, do feel more like a city that was pieced together by actual survivors of a major world war, rather than just some trash heap they looked at and said, yeah, we gotta plant our crops over there. And speaking about the people, they still look creepy as hell, and the lip syncing is just non-existent. I always liken the lip syncing to this game to, you know, when you really like a song but you just don't know the lyrics but you want to sing along anyway, so you're just kind of mumbling and moving your mouth and it doesn't match anything what they're saying? That is lip syncing for the most part in Fallout 76. So yeah, while the graphics themselves are already super dated and honestly in my opinion weren't that great to begin with, the world concept, at least, is much improved on. There's also one thing I loved about Fallout 4 that was not everyone's favorite. Building settlements. I've sunk so many hours building settlements in Fallout 4, and that's the one reason that game is still on my PC. And in 76, they brought settlements back in the form of camps. And this is one thing you can tell they definitely put a lot more work into this time around. Not only can you place your camp nearly anywhere in the world, but you also have a lot more variety, not more actual items, but a lot more variety of items, as well as cleaned up versions of furniture and everything. Plus you could put up wallpapers, you can have freshly clean and polished wooden floors, unbroken windows. I mean, it is great. Things also snap easier when you place them, and anything like grass, which would normally stick up through your floors in Fallout 4, now just disappears. But of course, there is a pesky downside, because being a multiplayer game that needs to support multiple custom camps on servers that are already kind of iffy, the square footage is small, but it's still usable since you're building just a personal house this time around, not an actual community. But the budget, the amount of items you can place, is absurdly small. Which of course I know it's an online game, but man, I wish you could have more, at least on a private server, or they would give you some options to have instanced housing. So yeah, it has its perks, but it has its downsides too. Crafting and gathering are two things that I love doing in pretty much any game that offers them. However, in Fallout 76, they use the same sort of crafting that they do in ESO, the whole plan system, which is the most poorly thought out way to punish crafters and players, because it forces you to look in every container, search every desktop, and every square foot of floor behind every pile of junk for those elusive plans. Whoever thought this was a good system needs to have all decision-making privileges taken away immediately. It's needlessly punishing, it's needlessly grinding. I mean, plans are fine, but they need to be regulated to rare items or to trophy items, but not for every chair, rug, and table. I mean, at best, it's asinine. The special perks are one thing we all know and love about Fallout, and they've always been pretty easy and to the point, although a little bit lacking, in my opinion anyway. And in Fallout 76, they both fix the special perk system and kind of destroy it at the same time. Now, the special stats themselves are pretty much the same. S is strength, P is perception, blah blah blah, and they do the same thing here that they've done in other games. But now the perks come in cards, so every time you level, you get one stat point to allocate and one card. And then after 50, you can move around one of your stat points or take a new card. Now the bright side is, there's an incredible amount of cards, so you can pretty much set cards for anything and customize your character to be exactly how you want it to be very easily. The downside to this is that there's only 50 points to spread through 7 stats, and if you want to use a card, you have to have enough points in that stat to use it, and it stacks by card rank. So, example time, if you put 10 points into strength, you can set up to 10 card ranks. So that would be like being able to set 2 rank 4 cards and 1 rank 2 card. This means you also spend a whole lot of time juggling your cards in an interface that's kind of clunky. Fighting solo, change cards. Joining a group, change cards. Fixing armor, change cards. Weapons too, change cards. Gathering crops, change. I mean, you get the idea. Max ranks cards should always be active, in my opinion, and that interface definitely needs an overhaul. The story and the quests are something, of course, I'm going to talk about because I love those two things, and they are pretty straightforward, but nothing really new. And the writing, while not bad, is nothing that's going to leave you with a feeling of wonder. I am someone who can become very emotionally invested in lore and in worlds and in NPCs, and here, it's just kind of there. I don't really know how else to describe it. Nothing has made me really care about anyone or anything going on in this world. They did seem like they were going to go somewhere with a few things, but then they fell back on those old, you are the savior who can do no wrong, that everybody just automatically trusts sort of tropes. And the main Wastelanders questline especially felt really rushed in some parts, especially toward the end. And in others, they just cut them off abruptly, like they were gonna go somewhere with them, but then they decided, nah, we're not gonna do that, we'll just end it here. They did give raiders a little bit more personality outside of just kill, 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 which is nice, but still, there's just not a lot of meat there. Outside of the normal quest, they also added public events, which are basically the same as public events in any game with public events. Although they do not scale to your level or to the number of participants, making some of them face roll easy once you get high enough, and others nearly impossible to do if you're alone. The rewards are also kind of hit or miss. I mean, sometimes you're going to get a nice weapon or armor piece, and sometimes you'll get a nice weapon or armor piece that's level 5, even if you're level 85. And other times you get plans, and sometimes you just get stim packs and ammo. The nuclear reactor ones were actually the ones I found the most interesting, since there was a lot going on. You had to go through this big reactor to complete them, but I out-leveled them super fast. So while they're nothing too special, they are a nice reprieve from just your normal questing and doing whatever. When it comes to combat, you're pretty much just looking at point and shoot. You maybe want to throw a grenade here and there, but explosives don't seem to really be as effective in 76 as they were in other Fallout games, so it's mostly just pointing and shooting. The aiming also feels a little touchier, and even when you have something dead in your sights, you will sometimes miss. But the VATs are surprisingly useful even without freezing time, especially on small hard target enemies like roaches or ticks, or things that move around a lot like flies. You won't get headshot bonuses, of course, with basic VATs, but they still make life a lot easier once you learn how to use them. Now, I have heard from some people that VATs are bugged, but this is one of those things where I'm not sure if it's being exaggerated or not, because this whole time I've been playing this game, which has been about 6 weeks now, I have not experienced a single bug when it comes to VATs. So there's one little trick to combat in Fallout 76 that I kind of want to let you in on. High ground. High ground is your friend in this game. Not only does it help with sneaking, but if you're fighting something large that has no range attacks like Wendigo, Deathclaws, or ghouls, it kind of messes with them. So what happens is when you get up high and they can't get to you, they run and hide. Sometimes though, they don't hide that well, so you can just take them off from a distance, and other times you just get back down, hit them a few times while they're charging you, get back up, hit them a few times while they're running away, and just repeat that process until they're down. Now, some large enemies can be huge bullet sponges in this game because they're meant to be taken out by a lot of people. So this is one tactic that you can use if you're playing solo. It does feel a little bit cheap, but it will save you a lot of time and a lot of deaths, so you're welcome. That could be kind of a null point sometimes though, because this game really does have a great community. So if you don't want to play solo, you don't have to play solo. There's not been a lot of problems with jerks or with trolls or anything like that. I mean, they are out there because, I mean, they're out there in every game. But for the most part, the community of Fallout 76 has been really great to play with. I kind of attribute that to the fact that this game has the reputation that it does, and it just doesn't attract a large audience, so it doesn't attract a lot of those trolls and everything that are out there. So yeah, if you don't want to play alone, if you want to take on some of these larger challenges with people, just go out there and start talking to people. The community of this game has been really great, but it's kind of like that with all the smaller niche games. So it may change once it becomes a little bit bigger and a little bit more popular, but right now, yes, community is good. Don't be shy, make some friends. So this video is getting a lot longer than I wanted it to be, so let me just cover a couple final points. Now, Fallout 76 does have a cash shop, but it doesn't seem to be anything super shady at this time. It's a lot of just skins and furnishings. I mean, nothing pay to win that I've personally found. I've also made thousands of atoms the cash shop currency just by playing the game. I've not purchased atoms a single time, but I have taken stuff off the cash shop just because they've thrown so much of this currency at me. I usually don't really use cash shops, but I mean, if they're going to give me free money, I may as well. And the last thing I wanted to cover is Fallout First, the subscription model that became one of the biggest controversies in this game since they promised it would never be a thing, but then they turned around and decided to make it a thing. So with Fallout First, you get an unlimited scrap box, which is basically a crafting bag, access to a private server for you and your friends, items from the game shop as well as things like a survival tent. But the big question is it worth it? Well, I think that really depends on how much you play this game. That unlimited scrap storage alone is amazing, and their survival tent really helps in a pinch and can save you some caps when it comes to fast travel costs. Plus, having a private server is just nice sometimes. Now, when it comes to getting atoms in this, I kind of see that a little bit differently as a lot of other people, because I don't see them just giving you cash shop currency. What I see them doing is saying, hey, you want to know what? You're paying the subscription model, so here's all these items, take your pick of what you want. I don't see it, instead of just saying, here's an item we're gonna give you for having a subscription, or, like other games do where you subscribe so long and then you get this item or that item. It's just them saying, hey, you wanna what? You're paying a subscription, pick a prize. So I think it really just depends on, like I said before, how much you play and whether or not you can just justify it to yourself. Do I have Fallout First? Yes, I do have Fallout First, but I got it in the beginning to see, just to check it out for the sake of this video, and I just honestly haven't bothered to cancel it yet. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna keep it going, but I do at this current time have it. However, I do think they get more people to pay it and make more money overall if they maybe lower it to $6.99 a month rather than the $12.99 price tag, especially with all the other problems this game has. $12.99 would be a much easier pill to swallow if they fixed more bugs and maybe updated the graphics a bit. Do something to put this game more on par with other online games these days. When all is said and done, regardless of the bugs and the glitches, I've actually been having quite a good time playing this game. So fingers crossed, because I would love to see this game improve and become more appealing to more people. And I know some people are just like, oh, that can never happen, blah, 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 blah. But I was there throughout all of Final Fantasy XIV, so I kind of, have seen it done before. Now, I don't think they're gonna do anything like that with this game, but I really hope that they continue to put a lot more into it and fix what they released broken. So there's that. Anyway, who knows? I may also stream a little bit of this game too. I've been really thinking about rebooting my stream for a while now, and this is on the list of the games that I'm thinking about playing. So hey, you never know. You may get to see this pretty bearded face of mine playing Fallout 76 as well as some other games very, very soon. But if you have any questions or just want to add anything of your own, please feel free to do so in the comments, and you can also follow me on Twitter, which is linked below, to find out more about upcoming videos and possibly even any of those streams I just mentioned. So with that, as per the usual, it has been a hoot, and until next time, have fun!